Hi and welcome to TOTECS. Today I'll be showing you an improvement that we've added to the platform to be able to calculate and display indicative freight unit totals when products are added to baskets within content managed web pages hosted on the TOTECS e-commerce platform. The freight unit data displayed can be indicative of the total size, volume, and weight of all the product quantities currently in the user's basket, and how all these products may be packaged up together. This freight unit data can be displayed within the basket summary area and within the basket product listing areas, allowing the user to be informed of the amount of space being filled up in a freight container being used for the delivery. It can show both the volume and the weight amount of the freight units and the total number of freight units that are required to deliver all of the ordered products. This feature may be particularly important to reduce the amount of empty space occurring in freight deliveries or compel customers to order more products to fill up and reduce freight surcharge costs. It is a feature useful for high volume trading such as filling pallets or containers of goods being shipped. To show you how this works on a demo content managed website that we have hosted on the TOTECS e-commerce platform here. And in this website, if we navigate to a web page that has the baskets products listing area already embedded within the page, we can see all the products that we already have in the basket. Now, if I add a product to the basket, and that could be done from several different areas, such as here in the product detail page. If we look at this example website in a basket summary area that has been embedded at the top of this page, it can show us how many products are currently in the basket. So there's 21 quantities of those products, which totaling $24,693. And now we can embed additional freight summary information about this basket as well. So in this example, it has been able to calculate that across those 21 quantities of products or units, that it would require 3 cartons, and that carton is the freight unit, to be filled up in order to be able to deliver those 21 quantities. And it's also telling us that in that third freight unit, the first 2 would be 100% filled up based on volume or weight, but the last unit, the third one, is currently only 10% full, and so that means it's only taking up 0.13 of meters cubed. We can also see what is the total volume across those product quantities. So the basket total volume is 2.63 meters cubed, and the total basket weight is 10.5 kilograms. Now, if we add a product to basket, we can see that those totals would then adjust. Now the system has been able to calculate that it no longer requires 3 cartons to fill up and deliver all the products in this basket. It's going to use a larger freight unit, which is a pallet, and that pallet is now only 31% full, taking up 0.25 meters cubed. And we can see now the totals have also been adjusted of the basket holistically as well. So as we add and remove quantities from our baskets, that allows the system to dynamically, in real time, recalculate. And this may be used to compel customers to add more products in order to completely fill up a given freight unit, whether that be cartons, pallets, satchels, or any type of freight unit which is defined in the back end. There's a lot of flexibility in how we can then label these different pieces of data. For example, within the baskets products listing area, we may elect to stylize it a little bit different like this, where we then call it a pallet estimator as opposed to freight units. We could also then display graphs showing what is the percentage of how full a given pallet is. We may even want to show pricing, how much a particular pallet may cost, and how the volume discounts may scale up as a pallet is filled up. Or we could even have product deals or vouchers, or remove freight surcharges based on how full or not full a given basket is. So there is a lot of flexibility at our disposal about how to display this information based on the type of e-commerce website that is being hosted. It is important to note that these numbers are just indicators, since if there are products which are uniquely sized, such as being very long and skinny, or being very heavy and small, that additional freight units or a different way of packaging those products may be required. So these are indicative numbers, but no doubt it will change depending on the types of products you're ultimately selling and getting shipped. Now to set this up, if we log in as an administrator user into the backend administration center interface, if we click on the stores menu button and then go into the freight provider settings, if we then scroll down to the section called freight units, this is where we define all the different freight units that we may use in order to package up our goods. So typically you use a tiering structure for this, where we can define up to 5 different freight units. And as the basket's bigger, either by volume or kilograms, then we can upgrade the basket to use greater size freight units as necessary. So with each freight unit, we have to set out what is the volume of a single freight unit. So in this case, what is the volume of a satchel? So this may be 0.25 meters cubed. We need to set the kilograms of what is the greatest amount of weight a single satchel can take. And then we can also specify the dimensions of that satchel. That is done here, and that also may be used in order to calculate volume. And then we can specify a threshold in which when either the basket's volume or the basket's total weight in kilograms has exceeded a certain amount, then the system will no longer use satchels in order to package up the ordered products. Instead, it will then move up to the next freight unit, which in this case has been set as carton. But you may not want to use cartons. You may want to use one of the several other freight unit options for this second freight unit. Now, if you're sending orders across to a freight system such as Smart Freight or OneFlow, it is important to get the naming of these different freight units correct. So that way the freight carriers know how to correctly calculate the final totals for these units. So we continue on and we go and set our sizing for each of the freight units we want to support. And if you only want to support one or two different types of freight units, you may want to set the thresholds to be very high. So in our example here, it starts off with a satchel, and then when the total gets over 2 kilograms, then it will then choose the carton. When the basket and the order total gets over 20 kilograms, it will then start choosing pallets. And then after that, it may go to containers and so on. Now we can configure this project so that way it will choose which freight unit based on either weight or volume, or factor in both volume or weight. So if the volumes option is set, then it will only look at the volume thresholds in order to then choose the next freight unit. But if it's set to weight, then it will only look at the weight thresholds in order to choose the next larger freight unit. And if it is set to volume and weight, then it will use either the volume or the weight in order to upgrade. Whichever is the smaller number would then cause a larger freight unit to then get selected. So that's how it's being able to go from choosing originally, if I've only got 18 of these folding machines in the basket, you can see that currently it's choosing the carton option. But then if I add 100 of these folding machines to the basket, it's now choosing a pallet instead of a carton, because the order weight currently, which is 61 kilos, is over the 20 kilo threshold for being able to deliver that product with cartons. It's now upgraded to the pallets. So it's important to identify the different freight units we will use for delivering these goods, the freight carriers support if they are going to be used, or if you're not using other freight carriers and freight systems, then it's identifying the freight units that are relevant to your business. And that may have previously been set up if you have integrations into the Smart Freight or OneFlow freight systems already. They would already be used to calculate how the orders are going to be delivered and the consignments raised. Now, besides that, of course, we need to go into our products, ensure that we have set up correct widths, dimensions, and weight data against each of our products, so that way the system knows how to correctly calculate volume and kilos on a per quantity basis. So our example here, which is this folding machine, we've set up the heights, widths, and depths, and the weights. And that's how it's being able to calculate across all the quantities. For these numbers to be accurately calculated, we must have accurate dimension data for our products. And they need to be set across all the products that users can then add to basket and order. Now, once that's set up, the final step is to click on the Websites menu button and go into the Websites interface. And within the web area format libraries, for both the basket summary areas or within our shopping basket listing area, we need to find those areas. Within the web area format libraries, we go into the shopping basket tree node, and then we expand the basket summary area. Within here, we've already created an area format that controls the styling and the data positioning within this area. So if we go into that format, and we need to find the correct format that is used for a particular area, we've now got additional hooks that we can embed into the format. So we have format hooks that start with cart freight. We can set total units that will be required to deliver the ordered products. We can put in the unit label, such as here where we have the unit label. We can set how much of the last freight unit is partially filled. So what is that percentage? We can show the volume that is partially filled, so that's that 0.25 meters cubed. And we can also display weight if we wanted to as well. We've got existing hooks in order to be able to show the total volume of the products in the basket as well as the total weight. We have these 5 new additional hooks that we've been added, so they need to be embedded into our format in the right spots. We may want to customize, in our example here, we want the total volumes and weights to display before the freight unit information. We could easily just modify the ordering of that data. Once that's saved, if we refresh the page, such as I've done here, and so we'd also need to make sure that that format is then applied to the correct area on a Content Manager web page. In this example, we have a page that is titled Basket. Within that page, we have an area for the basket summary, and within its formats, we have a selected format for that. So within this Content Manager web page area, we need to find the basket summary area that we'd want to display the freight unit information, and then check to make sure that that area is assigned to the correct format. And any other areas assigned to this format would also be affected across the Content Manager website. And it's a similar story for the basket products listing area. If we find that area type within either the basket header and the basket products footer format, we can embed our freight information. And you'll see also in the hook list here where we have the same format hooks available where that we can embed that freight unit data to display. So we could have this data displayed at the footer of the listing here of products, or we could have it appear somewhere above, depending on what is preferred. And same with the labeling of this data, we could change the labeling that is more unique to our business based on the types of freight units that your business may be supporting. So that's a wrap up of this new improvement we added to the TOTECS e-commerce platform to display different freight unit totals that can indicate to users and customers about how these products that they've ordered, how these products may be packaged up and delivered, how big those packages may be in either volume, weight, or both, as well as they can be used as an indicator to alert of how full a given freight unit is that may be compelled in order to purchase more products, ensure that freight units are completely full, and to order more products in bulk, ultimately leading to increased sales and possibly reductions on smaller amounts being ordered at a time. If you wish to find more information, you can go to the TOTECS websites, look at the release notes within the forums, and if you have any questions, you can ask within the forums or contact us. You can also view the release playlist on our TOTECS YouTube channel. Till next time, have a good one.